Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to cilinixfxcapital, and welcome to the channel as well if you are new, and welcome to this full update this Sunday on Zcash. We're covering it again. We are going to turn off the volume right here so we have a little bit of a better idea of what's going on with Zcash. We'll talk about the technicals. We'll talk about the funding rate. There's some interesting developments regarding that. We'll do a brief recap of my last analysis. I covered Zcash on Friday as well. After we had broken out above the critical level right here at 540, 550, which I still think is the most critical level at this point of time. So we'll just kind of talk about what to expect and what I think is most likely. When we're talking about my last update on Zcash, I'm very happy with that because what I told you there, which I made on Friday morning. So Friday morning, the price was right here. So it was at 640. From there, what I said, you can look this up. But the analysis was perfect because what I said is I think we're going to rally into 740, 750, which is a major psychological resistance level. But also, my apologies, the 382, the 3.618 Fibonacci extension level of the most relevant Fibonacci level, Fibonacci extension or Fibonacci retracement we can get on Zcash. So I said, okay, I think we're going to rally into that, and then from there I think we're going to pull back. And that is exactly what happens. I mean, if you shorted at 740, there was almost no drawdown, and we dropped down a total of 33%. But I also said that after finding resistance there, and after pulling back, I thought we would pull back into 550, 540, which also held up. I said, that was quite bearish, right? I mean, that video saying that we're going to crash or we're going to pull back quite aggressively from a certain level, that's quite bearish. But I said, if we are going to be able to hold 540, and I do think it's good to stretch that a little bit, right? We have the 4-hour trend right here, and we have the 7-day rolling VWAP at 525. If we're going to be able to hold that with strength, then I think we can rally up higher later. And rallying up higher, I think is always a difficult thing to predict. And that's also, I think that's a little bit, quite a lot of people are watching these videos and they're basing trades off of that. I think I think it's too early to say we're going to rally up higher than 740, 750, but I do think that the reaction we've had so far is good enough to expect a move back into that level again. So I don't expect us necessarily to drop down lower. Zcash still has a massive amount of momentum. There were some signs of momentum decreasing. You can, for example, see, my apologies, by the way, if my voice is a little bit strange, I'm a little bit sick. But you can see the momentum was decreasing into that move right here, the 7th of November as well. But since then, right, if this were to be the top, you would have seen a much major decrease in momentum. And right now, Zcash, also yesterday, still had huge momentum, huge volume. With this move down that we had on yesterday, we actually had a major liquidation spike. This is a liquidation spike, right? So if you have that like this line right there, that horizontal line, is the point of control of that candle. So most of the volume was traded at the bottom of the candle. That's a liquidation spike. And since then, we've been holding relatively well. We're holding structurally the level we need to hold to remain bullish. We're getting weak reactions from resistance levels. We still have a lot of momentum. We got a liquidation spike. And I would argue the narrative around it also still is very much alive and kicking, with Dash still quite strong, Near still quite strong, Litecoin some momentum yesterday evening. So therefore, I would say, short term, it's maybe a little bit more likely that we're going to remain stable. But from that stability, I do expect to move into that level at 720 again, where you can see that was also a liquidation spike. And then it depends on the reaction we get at 720, whether I think we can break above that. But with the momentum we've seen from Zcash in the last couple of months, I think it's better to assume that we are going to rally up higher. And then the next price target would potentially be $1,000, to be fair. So those are my thoughts. I think that's what you need to know about Zcash right now going into next week as well. Again, my apologies for being a little bit sick, but I can't help it. So those are my thoughts. I think that's what you need to know. Thank you for watching, everybody. Enjoy the rest of your weekends, of course, and bye.